We're going to talk about business customers, definition NAICS. Remember, we defined a customer is someone who sees the benefit in your product and has the ability to make the purchase. And then we made a distinction between a consumer, who is a customer who makes a purchase for personal use. And then we have business customers. So what would be a business customer? If a consumer is somebody who purchases for personal use, a business customer purchases for the business. So you don't necessarily get to the hedonic enjoyment of making the purchase. And the purchase is for a purpose. It's to make money. And there's a major criticism of all principles of marketing classes as taught at every university. And this is that business-to-business marketing, business customers are the vast majority of what's out there. In the United States, the last time I could get good data, retail sales was $5 trillion. GDP was $16 trillion. How do we measure GDP? So the gross domestic product, all the products going out minus products going in, but how do we measure it? National output. How do we measure national output? Dollars. So we measure it by transactions, by the sales. So if the GDP total transactions in this country was 16 trillion and 5 trillion of that was retail sales, that's consumer purchases, which is bigger. Business is almost twice as big as consumer purchases. So it's important. And so the criticism is, if the majority of buying in the world is business-to-business buying, how come it is that principles of marketing classes spend so much time talking about consumer marketing when the world revolves around business marketing? And that's a good criticism. My response to that criticism would be that everything that we talk about for consumers also applies to business customers. And when you're looking at business customers, there are some things that you can, if you understand, can make you more effective in dealing with that segment. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So everything that we talk about in this class applies to business customers. And when you're dealing in the business-to-business environment, these are things that might be helpful to know. So some of the kinds of business, industrial markets, that's where you're selling to other businesses, either components or finished goods. And then resellers, those are people who sell things to consumers or to other businesses at a profit. And then institutions are organizations that buy things not to make other things, but just to do what they do to create the services. This would be government, education, not-for-profit sector. Many times you've heard the term NGO. That's a non-governmental organization. That's an organization that does good but is not government.